In my time as a tarot reader, a tarot enthusiast, I have had decks, tarot and oracle decks, come in and out of my collection for a couple of years now. And usually whenever I purchase a deck and it doesn't really work out, like we're not vibing like I wanted to, then I'm pretty good in passing it along. I sell my stuff on Vinted. I recently did a little giveaway. But there are a couple of decks where I'm like, maybe I should not have let go of them. And I want to talk about those decks today. Decks that I sort of regret decluttering. They're all kind of for different reasons. So let's start with one that is actually kind of hurting now that I'm seeing the listing on Amazon, because the Housewives Tarot, now on Dutch Amazon, it is listed for 52 euros, and I'm pretty sure that I bought it for like 13. I do hate that Amazon does not have the images on it on Etsy, so I'm gonna pull up some images. Yeah, it is so cute. I love this deck. At one point after I got it, I thought this would be my soul deck, but there was something that whenever I read with it, I didn't really feel it anymore. Though a lot of card meanings I sort of learned through this deck, through the specific depiction of this deck. I think the devil card is so freaking funny. But yeah, that is the Housewives Tarot. This might be one of the few in this video that I would actually consider repurchasing. Okay, next one. The Muse Tarot. I had sort of a love-hate relationship with this deck simply because I love the colors, I love the idea of it. I want to be the person that loves and is super connected to this deck. And on some levels I sort of was. I did an entire deck study on it where I went through every single card, I went through the guidebook, I looked at what I see in the images, and for a while there I was able to read with it really, really well. But then also there were times where I was just not really connecting with it, where I was just not feeling it, and maybe I decluttered it too soon. Maybe I did. I think that sometimes I can do that, but oftentimes I don't really care because I have a lot of other decks. I'm looking at them right now. I have a lot of other decks that I love as well. And, you know, trying to work with the Muse Tarot sort of took time away from using, that I could have spent with some of my favorite decks. So this will not be one that I see myself repurchasing anytime soon, but I did really love this deck. And if you bought this deck because I once talked about this, I get it. It is a beautiful deck. Let me know your thoughts on the Muse Tarot. Next is the Happy Tarot. Of course, Amazon also does not have images of this one on the listing, but the Happy Tarot, it is such a cute deck. When I look at it, it's so funny, it is adorable, and I love the bold colors. When I just got it, I read with it a lot, and I really resonated with the images, with the messages, and it was just really comfortable. But then, I don't know, this is kind of petty for me. So me missing the Happy Tarot kind of serves me right, because it had a message that I didn't really want to hear at one point. And it was like, okay, this is the Happy Tarot. This is supposed to, give me a certain vibe when I do a reading with it. But no, it called me the fuck out. And I wasn't having it. And I put it away. And I sort of never felt the urge to pull it back out. So I decided to sell it, and I did. And now I'm like, but it's so adorable, and I love the colors, and I did really enjoy working with it. And yeah, I do think that I was too quick passing this along. But yeah, I guess it kind of serves me right. Next is the Modern Witch Tarot. And this is actually my first ever tarot deck. But the reason that there are two reasons that I decluttered this. First is the cardstock. This is so freaking hard to shuffle. It is so stiff and plasticky, and it hurt my hands, and I could barely hold the deck in my hands, and that was just not a pleasant experience of working with it. But the images, I love it. Like, I get that this was my first tarot deck and that I fell in love with tarot afterwards, because this is exactly what I want. This is exactly what I love. It is an RWS clone, but it is more inclusive. It is there's more femme presenting people. There's also some gender nonconformity, I would say, in some of these cards, and I really love this deck. But it was the cardstock that sort of made me not love it. And I have had the suggestion of getting like the French or the German version and then cutting off the titles, but I don't want that. I like the titles. I want the titles. I don't want a French or a German deck. For me, that sort of, I don't know, it affects the experience of working with it. And then the second reason that I got rid of this is because I don't know, in my first few months of reading tarot and acquiring tarot decks, I got into this phase of only making tarot bags for my decks and throwing out the boxes. So I did that for this deck, and I just really shouldn't have. Right now I love to show my decks in their boxes because I think the boxes are pretty. The only decks that I keep in a bag are ones where the boxes are like actually super terrible, like the NRK Tarot and the Good Karma Tarot. Like, if Liminal 11 came out with this deck on new cardstock, I would buy it in a heartbeat. I really would. But not in this way, not like this. Okay, and then the last deck that I regret decluttering is the True Heart Intuitive Tarot. This, again, no pictures on the Amazon page, but yeah, the True Heart Intuitive Tarot, also one of my first decks. The cardstock, it's like thin cardboard. It was horrible, but working with it, the vibe, I also hated the backs. But the guidebook was really fun. I loved the depictions. I loved the bold colors, the representation, the diversity. I thought this was a really fun and interesting deck. So yeah, this might also be one that I see myself repurchasing. I'm not really sure, but I did really enjoy this deck. So yeah, those are some decks that I regret decluttering. Let me know which decks you ended up decluttering, or that you decluttered, that you ended up regretting decluttering. Have you ever purchased a deck twice because you let go of it? Let me know. And subscribe if you want to see more tarot chats and deck reviews. But for now, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!